This week we're going to take your Picasso face that we worked on in class, and we are going to trace over everything that you drew in crayon. You'll need to pick a dark color. That would be like blue or black or purple, red, but just pick one. Pick one color. And then it's also helpful to draw on top of something soft, like a notebook, or if you're at home, a magazine. Do not use the light colors. It doesn't work as well. Pick a dark color and begin tracing. I need you now to trace over each line that you drew in pencil. Now, there is something I want to share with you about getting the crayon to go on nice and smooth. If I color on top of a magazine, or like in your desk, you might pull out a notebook, like a composition book, and open it up to where the pages are soft. You just need several sheets of some kind of paper, so a notebook works great. If you're at home, a magazine, just something to work on top of. If I work on top of a hard desk, it makes the crayon go on kind of bumpy. This lets the crayon go on nice and smooth. So you're going to trace over every line. Do not add anything else. No details. Be patient. We're going to get to that. So carefully tracing the shapes. For painting this week, we are using tempera cakes, but we're going to use them more like water than like tempera paint, in that we're going to use a lot of water on our brush. So this is our paint set, and then you have access to water and a sponge. The purpose of the sponge is so when you wet your brush, you don't tap it, because if you tap it, it splatters. The sponge is for you just to tap right there and capture any water that you may feel is going to drip. So I'm going to ask you to pick a color, any one color to start with. So I wet my brush and I select my color, and I'm going to have to go around it a couple of times because these are brand new and they haven't been painted with, and they need to be kind of activated. They need to be wet. So I'm going to paint around a couple of times. You don't need to dig. It's a hard block of paint. It's like equal to maybe a half a gallon of paint, or a pint anyway. So you just wipe it down like this, and then I'm going to move this away so you can see my picture. I want you to paint the profile, just the profile. Now, this is not the profile, but this is. See the nose? So I'm going to paint this side with my paint. Painting inside the line. Now, if my brush gets a little bit dry, I don't have to rinse it. I just am going to dip it in. And if I want to get a little drip there, and then I keep painting, because this is supposed to be like a watercolor paint. And I can paint right up to the crayon edge, and the crayon kind of stops it. Now, if my brush is running out of paint, I can reach back over, rub it a few times on my paint, and then back to my painting. If I find it's a little dark, I can just reach over, get a little water, touch my sponge if I need to. Okay. Now, when I'm finished with that color, I am going to rinse my brush because I'm through with the green for the moment. So I'm going to clean my brush and I just wiggle it around. I don't need to splash it. I pull it back over the edge. Ooh, I see a little green, so I'm going to actually clean a little bit more. Yeah, now it's clear. And then I just kind of dry it. To pick the opposite color that you painted with. The opposite color on the color wheel. We talked about a color wheel in the first week of school. The opposite of green is red. So I'm going to go and now use my red paint. Okay, so I'm going to wet my brush, rub it around a couple of times, getting it kind of activated, liven it up, and I'm going to paint the other side of my face red, the opposite of the green. Okay, I'm not painting my neck, I'm just painting that side of the face. When that is done, I'm going to clean my brush, pull the brush, make sure it's clean. I'm not tapping it. Okay. And now I'm going to pick a color for my hair. Now this is where you can have some fun because Picasso wasn't concerned about making things realistic. So this is one time where you can choose whatever color you want. In fact, I've taken away the black and the brown so you can pick a color that you have not used for your hair. I'm going to use blue. But you just get to pick one color. So I'm going to paint blue. Now notice that I'm painting over the lines and how the paint will not stick to the crayon. See that? Gonna get a little water. Now I left that little part right there because that's going to be a headband. Okay, I'm going to clean my brush. So I'm going to clean my brush. Notice that I only clean my brush when I change my color. All right, now I'm going to pick another color that I have not used. Okay, and I'm going to paint my shirt. Okay, I'm going to pick a color for my shirt. And I'm going to choose this kind of pinkish red back here. This is magenta. And I'm going to paint my shirt. Okay, now I'm going to clean my brush. Now the only color that I have not used so far in this is yellow. So I'm going to paint my neck and my ears yellow. Now my brush is kind of dirty, so I'm going to rinse it again so my yellow doesn't get too dirty. I'm going to paint yellow. My neck is going to be yellow. And my ears. Okay. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to paint the background. I'm going to paint that a color that I have not used. Let's see.